Hello and welcome to Moviefone. Moviefone TV is your ticket to all that's new at the movies. Now in theaters. Disney's Mufasa, the Lion King, brings to life the epic origin story of one of the Pride Land's most iconic rulers, featuring the voices of Aaron Pierre and Kelvin Harrison Jr.
It's time I tell you a story.
A story! So glad I brought some crickets.
Rafiki, keep going.
The story about a prince who would come to be known as Scar and an orphan named Mufasa.
I think seeing the relationship of Mufasa and who would become Scar was really heartwarming and also very sad and tragic.
Yeah. I expected him to have it all figured out 24/7 because that's how he's presented in the first film. And then suddenly we get to see this guy who has a lot of questions and doesn't always have the answers, and I don't always think he makes the best choices, but he still comes out triumphant because there's a big love and a big heart in him.
Two brothers who set off on a dangerous journey to find a new home and a new family.
I think like everybody else, when I heard Barry Jenkins is directing a Lion King movie, I went, huh? And I was very curious to see what that would look and feel like, and then I was lucky enough to get sent the script, and I thought it was amazing.
I have a secret, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother.
I always wanted a brother. I always wanted a brother.
I feel like there's a childhood innocence and the vastness of your imagination when you're a child, where you can just fall into any world. That's what I tried to bring to our recordings.
What's really exciting about that process is that our lives brings life into the film. And I think the joy and the fun we had making the movie is also what makes the movie really exciting and lively as well.
Finally, food. If you take my life, you will never find where you are going. Parker, do not eat him. Wonderful. Another we're not supposed to eat.
95% of what Timon and Pumbaa say in the movie has been improvised, I would say.
Yes, it was an insane amount of stuff that we did was actually used, which was shocking to me. Might be one of my most improvised roles I've ever done.
I thought this was a comedy.
I think you could include an enthusiastic, rambunctious warthog a little bit more.
And a charismatic meerkat you can't help but fall in love with.
Personally, there was only a small element of improvisation. A lot of it was scripted for me.
Mufasa, we're alive! I did it! I saved us! You're saying?
But the moments when we did get to have a little bit of improvisation were really fun.
We are nearing destiny, Mufasa. And so, the earth must shake.
I think I'm just really excited for people to engage with this film, during the holiday season, whether they see it on their own or with their loved ones, with their friends. Just however you choose to engage with it is the right way for you, and we just hope that you feel the joy that we experience making
I
it.
think we all kind of have this image in our heads of Scar's the bad brother, Mufasa's the good brother, and this movie complicates that in such a rich and interesting way. But no one's born good or bad. There's no such thing as that binary. When you can have that level of nuance with your kids in those conversations, it's really important.
Now on digital. Based on Ernest Hemingway's final novel, Liev Schreiber stars as a World War II hero facing his mortality in the romantic war drama Across the River and Into the Trees.
My dream. Driving on solid ground. For miles and miles and miles in one direction. Not round in circles on water.
To infinite possibilities.
I had only read the basic high school Hemingway, which was, I had read A Farewell to Arms and I'd read For Whom the Bell Tolls. I really didn't have much experience with him.
You looking for something special, Colonel? In Venice, I mean?
When Paul initially reached out to me about the film, she gave me a novel by a guy named Andre de Robilant called Autumn in Venice, which is a wonderful telling of Hemingway's time in Venice, which is a place that, as many people know, he really, really loved. And in particular, his relationship to a young countess. It's a wonderful portrait of him and her, of midlife crisis, of existentialism, of romance.
Signorina! Mi scusi!
You are the famous Colonnello Cantwell.
There's a lot of films about older men and younger women, obviously, but one of the things that I appreciated about Hemingway was his self-consciousness about it and his self-loathing, or self-consciousness that verges on self-loathing. And I think that is a very refreshing and interesting take.
He spent his last days thinking about the one chance Dad slipped away.
He was impossibly spellbound by Adriana, the real woman, and at the same time hated himself for it and was very frustrated, and then did absolutely nothing to hide it.
Man can't live forever.
Everyone always talks about the simplicity of Hemingway, the masculinity of the writing, the spareness of it. But to be honest with you, that's not what I thought when I read Hemingway in high school, and it's certainly not what I thought when I read Across the River. I get that grammatically, I get that in terms of styles of writing, but I think he's a romantic.
Why not?
To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviefone.com. Find it, watch it. Up next on Moviefone TV, Philippa Boyens and Mira Sorvino. Moviefone Trivia. Stay tuned for the answer.
Once they had asked us what we thought about anime, this story immediately popped up into my mind.
Moviefone Trivia. Now in theaters. A young king's daughter is forced to lead the resistance against a deadly enemy hell-bent on her family's destruction in The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim.
All Middle-earth knows the tale of the War of the Ring. But 200 years before that,
Riders of the Mark! Brothers of Rohan!
there was an older tale.
Well, the challenge at the beginning is keeping your excitement under wraps and trying to remain as professional as one can when they find out that they're going to be a part of one of the greatest franchises in the history of celluloid.
It's been a joy going back, actually. It's been kind of a more gentle, dipping my foot back in the waters moment.
We come with an offer to strengthen Rohan.
Hera, daughter of Helm, I, Wolf, seek your hand in marriage.
It's been 3 years of thinking about how to make something that would satisfy a huge amount of fans of live-action trilogy.
Getting to work with Kamiyama-san, he had such a sense of what he wanted to reach for.
Our fathers speak as if I were not even in the room.
I do not want to marry you.
You do not seek an alliance. You seek a throne.
Animation, even no matter how much detail it gives, how much sort of, meticulously drawn, you cannot make it real. I wanted the live-action fans to also feel there is no difference between looking at the live-action and the animation.
Once they had asked us what we thought about anime, this story immediately popped up into my mind. At the very beginning of the conflict of this story is an unnamed female character.
What was that old poem you used to recite to me as a child?
She is a ferociously loyal, adventurous, wise young woman who begins as quite an archaic princess, I suppose.
The boy I knew would never wish for war.
The boy you knew is gone.
Fire!
Kenji has a sort of ethereal quality whereby, because he doesn't speak English, so there's a lot of communication between me and him was through gestures, little grunts here and there, little noises. We learned to communicate in our own language.
Yeah.
I was told that the actors in Britain was not very used to kind of having the anime first and then do the voiceover afterwards. So we opted for what we called prequel, which means that we had the actors to perform first.
All ready to go, all ready to rock and roll, as they say.
We'll never make it past the archers.
Enough.
When we did the first pass of it, of course, you don't have a visual aid at all. And as an actor, this is unlike anything I've ever done before.
As the character does come to life through the drawings, through the artwork, then it starts to dictate how you perform. And then you find your voice even more.
You think I am afraid of you?
You should be.
Available now on digital. Daft State, a terrifying psychological thriller produced by Mira Sorvino, stars Christopher Backus as a man fighting off nightmares that drive him to the edge of his sanity.
Hey, sweet girl. Daddy join you for a little tea party? Wouldn't that be fun?
My first reaction was terrified. I was terrified of whether I could do it. It's a lot of me and it's heavy emotion, and I knew that once I was terrified by the script, it was something that I really wanted to do and challenge myself. So I kind of did anything I could to do it and then dove headfirst into the deep end, and I'm really proud of it.
It's a nightmare.
I think he's so vulnerable, and there are very few male actors who can cry authentically and sustainably. And Chris just broke his heart on screen for this film. And it also has this suspense element to the film. It's not just a deep dive emotionally, it has a kind of a horror thriller structure to it. And I think you handled every step of that so brilliantly.
You can't keep hiding, man.
You're never here.
I'm scared of what's out there. You are losing your mind. I want this to be over.
It was a tremendous cast. Skye Marshall, who plays my wife, was fantastic. She came in and she was curious and had questions and we really wanted to create a backstory, because she's all seen in flashbacks in the movie, and really create this family atmosphere. It made it more heartbreaking as the movie went on. As I go through my ordeal, she was giving as an actress and kind and truly wonderful. But the whole cast was great, and I'm very fortunate to get to work and share the screen with all of them.
Everything can go back the way it was.
No, it can't.
Coming up on Moviefone TV, J.K. Simmons and Tyler Hynes. Moviefone Trivia. The answer when we return.
One of these love stories, you watch them intertwine and culminate in the end, feels like an experience a little bit unique.
Moviefone Trivia. Now on digital. Two estranged siblings are forced to confront their complicated history over the course of a cross-country road trip in the emotional drama Little Brother, featuring J.K. Simmons.
Are you still thinking about harming yourself?
It's protocol, bro. No laces, no belts.
He's good. The impetus behind the movie was when I was 24, one of my good friends died by suicide. And after he passed away, his father published some of his diaries online, and I was really struck by the way that my friend was talking about his suicidal thoughts. They were just like very clear-headed and kind of unemotional. And that was just a complete contrast to like anything I had imagined thoughts of suicide to be.
Most of us have been affected by suicide, by mental health issues with friends and loved ones. And it's unfortunately very relatable story in that way.
Jake and Pete is just like the two characters. There's just so much to dive into. There's so much nuance, so much complexity. But it's not just sad. There's this beautiful sense of humor that kind of goes in the darkness with you.
It felt like such a personal and beautiful movie, and it's important for me to feel less alone within my own feelings when I can express them through a story that can connect hopefully to others and make us all kind of feel less alone in a way.
Mom and Dad, somebody come get you. They want us to drive your car back to Washington to evaluate things.
To evaluate things? Evaluate me?
The cliche is very true that like 90% of directing is casting, and working with actors is like my favorite part of the filmmaking process.
He's not telling the audience how they have to think about any character and support and show up with love.
It was the best people to do it with, you know? It's like I felt so genuinely so supported.
You can't just do whatever you want and chalk it up to your mental health. You know,
Stop, okay? Please stop.
I could just give you the unfiltered truth. I wrote a letter to JK because we were looking for also executive producers, and I sent him the script. And he wrote me back, very quickly, and he said, "I love this script. I think it's amazing. This is a story that needs to be told. Respectfully, I am just an actor. I don't do anything else. I act."
That's my recollection of my response when anybody asks me to do any kind of grown-up job. I don't have the tools for anything other than the one thing that I've been working on for 50 years now, trying to get better at pretending to be other people.
Now streaming on Hallmark Plus. Romance meets romance as three childhood best friends flip the traditional romantic comedy on its head in the Groomsmen trilogy.
You asked us to come and keep you from making a huge mistake.
I didn't ask, you just showed up.
Obviously, the big, elephant in the room is that it's not BJ. The big elephant in the room is that, like, they're told from the male's point of view. That's, like, the baseline of what makes these different. But then I think what also makes them different is the fact that we shot them in these locations and we block shot everything. So all the movies, like, intertwine in a way and kind of do this dance that we've never seen in a group of movies on Hallmark Channel before.
How they all kind of tie in together. You get each one of these love stories, you watch them intertwine and culminate in the end, feels like an experience a little bit unique to everything else out there. And I think that's a lovely thing anytime you can do something that feels a little bit fresh.
I'm sorry, but what's wrong with my clothes?
With all due respect, and keeping in mind that I'm one of your best friends and I love you, you dress like a high school guidance counselor.
I say at one point, I'm like, you dressed like a high school guidance counselor. But if you actually look at the movie, we did a poor job on my producing end that I'm dressed in the exact same clothes that BJ is. It's just a different color. And so when I look at it, I was like, oh, I should have been wearing something cooler that day.
I actually could not dance.
Look at our boy. I didn't know he could move his hips like that.
I didn't know he had hips.
I had the hardest time learning the choreography, and it was only like 15 seconds. All right, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Tana was like, I got it. And I was like, show it to me one more time.
Oh, Madonna Santa, ma guarda dove vai, oh?
I'm so sorry.
He's a little uptight, that Jackson, but these men will help him through that moment in his life.
You will see how he lets go in 4, 5, and 6. Oh my God, it was amazing.
And Groomsmen 4, 5, and 6, he's gonna let go.
He's gonna let loose too much, even.
Did I just spoil it for us? 4, 5, and 6 is stop. You got the exclusive. What if he doesn't have feelings for me? What if he does?
Stay tuned. There's more coming up on Moviefone TV. Thanks for watching Moviefone TV. To find out where to watch any movie, scan the QR code so you can get notified to download the new Moviefone app.